Hey, this is Jonathan, and uh, I'm really tired. Long day of work. Trying to race to meet deadlines. It's quite tiring. It takes a lot out of you. I have to say. I'm not really used to that yet, but oh well. I mean, I've done similar things in the past. It's just you never really get used to like pushing yourself to your very limits and be like, yeah, I'm fine, because I mean that's the whole point. That's why you're pushing yourself to your limits, right? Like, if you weren't, then of course you wouldn't be tired. But anywho, I was working on a game, this game in particular, and then I realized I did a silly thing somewhere, probably here. Or, no, not here. In that other place I was at. Button trans, yeah, you. Transform storage is, it's pretty complicated. It's like a storage that holds like a UI transform and like a fetch and like all this other stuff. But at least it gives me a type to work with, and I think that's what I need. Because we don't want to keep getting the same storage over and over again, right? So if I take the storage instead of the world, and I can probably just get the target and do all this stuff and not have to worry about anything else. That's what I'm thinking right now, but this might be a bad idea. I'm glad that this thing is telling me the types though, because trying to make all this stuff happen is pretty unlikely. I don't know if this is gonna work, actually. Oh yeah, Yeah, that doesn't work. I'm not allowed to do that, because the placeholder is not allowed within types and item signatures. So that's not something I can actually really do. Unless I do this, maybe? But then it's going to require that I pass in a... What are you complaining about now? Really? Okay, that's interesting. I did not know about that. I'm not sure that'll work, but I can certainly try. We'll just do this. Yeah, that should work. So instead of passing in a world, we gotta pass in a storage instead. Does that make sense? I think it does. Right, I need this. I have a feeling I'm gonna be needing a lot more imports to make that happen, but we'll just have to see. I don't know if this is gonna work at all. I mean, it seems okay, but I guess we'll just have to see. Now I could have changed that function to take a type that implements a certain type, and that probably would have worked fine. That probably would have worked better. This is probably not going to work that well. Oh yeah. Amethyst ECS, Amethyst ECS Prelude? No, I just want ECS, probably. Oh boy, oh boy. Prelude and storage. I have masked storage as well to worry about, so that's cool. What? Are you kidding? It's what is fetch part of? Oh, shred. Huh. I thought it was called Shrev. Am I mistaken? I thought there was a thing called shrub in this, but no, it's called shred? Oh yeah, we have shred and shrev. Wow. That's not gonna get confusing. I already feel like this is not gonna work. And mask storage. ECS storage. Oh. Huh. That's interesting. Sure. Do it that way. What? What are they talking about? Straight bound. Oh, okay. What if I do this then? T has to implement that. Now I pass T into there. There we go. Oh, gosh, of course. Component. This is kind of silly now. I don't know how well this is going to work at all, but it looks like it is kind of working almost. Almost. No method named get found for specs storage in current scope. Oh. Welp. That's not what I expected. Am I using the wrong storage? It could be. There were multiple storages, right? Maybe it's... I don't know. What storage is this one? There's a lot of them. Maybe storage. That would make sense, I think. To use a storage instead of just a, you know, the other one. Mismatched types. Oh no. Really? Oh, and they still can't find get. Why was I able to get earlier? Huh. Shouldn't storage be able to get? Anyway, this might not be worthwhile. After all. Wow. Guess randomly at tabs until you find the one you want. Yeah, that'll work. What am I doing? Stop that. Oh, this is a read storage. Maybe that's why. Isn't that what I'm doing? No, I'm doing a storage that I can't. Huh. Wait, where does that come from then? Maybe only read storage has that? Could that be? I could see that happening. Where are you defined? Somewhere. Not here. Wow. I'm surprised there's so much usage of it. Or maybe I shouldn't be. It has to be defined somewhere. Is the definition going to be like the last thing I see? Or not? Huh. Self data. Read storage. Storage mod. Huh. Oh, this must be like new syntax, this self thing. Okay, this is... It changes so much I just can't keep up with it anymore. Data. Well, write storage is here. Read storage must be here. There we go. It does not have a get on it. Who has a get? Storage? Maybe storage does. Storage? Oh, look at all this unsafe. Scary. Hopefully it's safe. Unsafe? Oh, I mean, sound, I guess. Unsafe. Yeah, that's a lot of unsafe. And I still don't know where storage is. Where's storage? It said there was a storage somewhere in here. This search kind of sucks. It doesn't tell me the definition of storage anywhere, which is weird. Yeah. How does this work? What? I have a storage here. Yeah, supposedly it's of this type. Or is it because it's a reference? Am I supposed to consume? I hope I don't have to consume it. That'd be silly. And what is this complaining about? Oh, this. Oh, of course. I don't understand anymore. Passing in a reference anyway. Really? There we go. Give me that. Yeah, I thought I could get away with like tucking away a lot of logic into a place, but it's not gonna happen, is it? Well, hang on. I could do this. Huh. No, I didn't get. Obviously I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do. Well, anyway, this doesn't seem worth it. We'll just go back to the way things were. It was a lot cleaner. Yeah. This I'm okay with. I guess, yeah, I need to... Well, did I undo this as well? Or did I forget to undo this? I can't remember. Yeah, I did. I still have to undo this. So that kinda sucks, but what can you do? Because if I want to have a button that doesn't, or like a mouse click that doesn't do a state transition, now I'm kind of stuck. Because, yeah, because it'll only affect this. Well, I mean, I guess I could still read storage again, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do a second read of the same thing, right? Like, there's no point in doing that. Alternatively, I could do all this, and then I'd have a sum button, I guess. Button has an ID, yeah, that would be a transform. I could pass the transform in here instead. And that could also work. Yeah, it's certainly tempting. Maybe I'll do that instead. I still like the idea of having the read transform thinger here, and then I can do whatever I need to. Well, would I? Would I want to do it this way? I mean, I guess I don't have a choice. I have to check if it's clicking on a button that will transition into a state, or if I'm clicking on a button that does something else instead, right? Like, I feel like I have very little choice in that regard. So let's go get ourselves a transform, an option transform. So I'll pass in the transform here. And so now, yeah, I can now have an option UI transform. Huh, I didn't know it was a reference to a UI transform. Apparently that's what I have. And I shouldn't call it world, I'll just call it transform. I know that I'm using trans and transform and it's kind of bad, but whatever. You gotta deal with it. It's just the way it is. At this point, I'm not even sure if this really matters that much, although it is nice to be able to just call this and then have that be defined somewhere else. Yeah, that's kind of nice, I guess. It doesn't really make enough of a difference, though. Like, I don't know. Having a full-blown trait for this seems almost like overkill. But I'll keep it for now. It's not really causing any harm as far as I know. What? Wait, where's the target? Oh. Huh. Target gets passed into this thing. ev.target. Ah, of course. Yep, okay. So now we don't even need to pass in the target. Do we? No, we don't. Don't have to pass in the target at all. I don't know why I'm trying that. This is obviously not going to work for this. Yeah. Like, this is clearly not a good idea. I realize that most of this line length is actually coming from this, like, type annotation. So that's kind of silly. Take my transforms. Oh yeah, I need the UI transform here, don't I? Yep. Do that. Do that instead. Sounds good to me. Does that work? I feel like I just wasted a bunch of time playing with this thing that clearly isn't that useful, but it works. It certainly seems to work. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm A-okay with this. So all we're doing is a pattern match, and then we call this method that has to be implemented for whoever implements this trait. And that's cool, I guess. So now we can handle button clicks. And, well, at least button clicks that transition to another state. So at this point, what I want to do is add the ability to check for button clicks on other types of elements, not just for this click trans. Wow. You know, I just realized. I'm not even sure how that's gonna work. But handle event is used for handling like inputs, right? So like this should do more than just state transitions, I think. Unless that is a separate concern and I should just split it out into its own like separate system or something. I mean, that's also an option. Haven't really put too much thought into this. Because in that case I could have just stuck with the old implementation, probably, and that probably would have been okay. This one is a little bit more flexible, but yeah, that's a little bit more boilerplate to our code. So, not entirely sure about this either. And I'd like to refer to the book or something. Or maybe to the Pong example? I don't know. Pong example doesn't even have any other states, though. That's the thing. They don't have any like really good examples here of like a multi-state game. Maybe someone else has created a multi-state game with Amethyst and they have an example somewhere out there, but I sure as heck haven't seen it. That's a lot of background noise. That's wonderful. It's fantastic. I love having background noise while I'm recording. It sounds super professional. Let's see. Let's go to Pong then. I was hoping to see an example down there, like a real example of like someone else's project, or I don't know, something a little bit more substantial, but there wasn't, so gotta deal with it. Gotta deal with it. Side paddle scoreboard. Good God. Just all I see is the Pong state, so yeah, it's probably the only one that actually matters. I wish there wouldn't be so much freaking background noise right now. It's kind of distracting, actually. If I'm gonna be completely honest. It's harder to focus. And there's a lot of stuff happening behind you. You know what? No one has indicated anything else. I've seen like a input state or like system here, I think. Was it for like paddle? Yeah, there's like some kind of input stuff happening here. Input handler. Maybe this is what I want to do? Not really sure. So I basically did a change that I'm not even sure I necessarily need. That's great. Perfect. Absolutely awesome. Why did I bother? I guess just to prove to myself that, yeah, I can do that if I have to. So input handler, I guess, is just, okay, it's just its own thing. Because it doesn't get added anywhere here, as far as I can tell. It's probably just one of those default things. So, like a default component that gets added, or whatever, default resource implementation. Which, I mean, that's understandable. That's how this works. That's how specs works, anyway. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything else for handling input, so... How do they handle collisions? They must handle collision, right? Like, it would be kind of silly not to. Let's move balls. Translation plus equals velocity. Okay. I guess that's what bounce.rs is for, huh? Well, we're not going to be controlling two paddles. That's for sure. Yeah, I guess I should handle inputs in the system instead of handling it in the state. That would probably makes the most sense, honestly. Then I can control stuff a little bit better. So I think that refactor I just did was completely unnecessary, but oh well. I can always undo it, it's not hard. Bounce. Ah, okay. So here it gets the paddles and the transforms. Yeah, so this is where it handles collision. If it point in rectangle, yeah. That plays the bounce sound and then it yeah, oh, it just sets the velocity to the negative of the velocity. So that's cool, at least for the horizontal component. Yeah, that seems simple enough. So they have a system specifically for handling like collisions. They have a system for handling moving the paddles based on user input, and they have a system for handling yeah, whatever else. So that gives me an idea that I probably need, or not need, but I should add a system for handling when the user clicks on a button and tries to generate a seed, or clicks on a button so that doesn't like transition to a state but does other stuff. Because that would fall under input, I think. User input handler. I want to read that again, just to be sure. Input, where is input used? Input.access value. Although, I don't know what that means. What is access value on an input? Oh, how is that defined? Amethyst input handler. Well, let's go take a look at Amethyst input. Oh boy. Input handler, here we go. Okay, interesting. Axis value might be something to do with like these axes, these controller axes. Well, wouldn't I want events? Like, what's happening here? Movement, it does a pattern match on paddle.side. If it's side left, then it'll return input.axis value, and it passes in left paddle. So that must be defined here somewhere. Send event. What is axis? What was it? Oh, I keep forgetting. My brain is not working. Oh, here we go. Returns the value of an axis by the string ID. What does that mean? Wow, I am horribly mystified by what this means exactly. This is confusing. Whoa. What is this part of? Is this all part of input handler? Yeah. Yeah, yes it is. There's only one usage of this. Of an axis? By the string ID? Okay, well, I could try and read through this and figure out what the heck is going on. Self.bindings.axes.get. Whoa. Bindings. What are the bindings? Okay. Maps inputs to actions and axes? What does that mean exactly? What is an axis in the axis input handler? What? Okay, well here's something I've never seen before. X-axis. What the heck? You can tell I'm not a game developer. I've played with like Game Maker, and that's about all my experience with actual like real game dev. So this is kind of wow. I've never heard of this before. Refer to your all the axes that you set up in the input manager serve two purposes. They allow you to reference your inputs by axis name in scripting. They allow the players of your game to customize the controls to their liking. All defined axes will be presented to the player in the game launcher, where they will see its name. What? I've never heard of this. I've never heard of controls being referred to as axes. That's so different. Huh. Weird. Therefore, it is best to write your scripts to make use of axes instead of individual buttons, as the player may want to customize the controls for your game. Huh. So it's a way of allowing people to rebind controls. That's super interesting, and I've never ever in my entire life heard of this terminology. And I've played a lot of freaking games in my life, and I've never yet heard the term axes when it came to like input management, or at least, you know, just like setting up controls for a game. Usually it's just like the controls menu, or like set up key bindings or mappings or whatever. Like axes is not a thing that is not a terminology that I'm familiar with at all. So that's new to that's so weird. I guess game development lingo is actually pretty different from the kind of lingo that you hear commonly outside of game development. I guess it's kind of like how regular people call the linear blend skinning pose, like the bind pose, the T pose, because that's all. It looks like a T shape, and that's all they recognize it as. It's the T pose. And they don't really understand like why necessarily, but people who know skinning do. But anyhow, I learned a thing today. I learned about axes, or input axes, and that seems pretty good actually. I like that, but that's not gonna work for like mouse clicks, right? Mouse clicking is different. These inputs are key / mouse button. Huh. I'm starting to wonder the feasibility of using mouse events. I'm not sure if that's actually a good idea. This is fascinating. Can I use this with mice? Also, left paddle, right paddle. Oh, you know where that's defined. I just remembered something. That must be defined in resources under input. Left paddle, right paddle. I see. That's where it's all defined. Fascinating. So if people wanted to rebind their controls, I guess you'd have to modify the input.ron, huh? Because that seems to make sense to me. Oh, yeah, look at this. Or you could even set up this left paddle, right paddle with controller inputs. Like, wow. Okay. Now I'm starting to get it. I'm getting the idea. Yeah, these are the axes. Cool. So, how about for mouse input? How would that work? Is that a thing you can define here for these like axes, or how would that work even? Color me intrigued, because that's, yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a game changer. But I don't really know how that's gonna work. This is that prefab example. That's not very good. Oh, dude, that sounds really, really good. Like, I want to do that, but I'm not really sure how. Have I been here? I've definitely been here. That's not where the controls would be defined for a game. Alright, I need to learn about that stuff that I just saw in the Pong example. So I'm going to keep that open here, I think. Yeah, emulated. Where did emulated come from? That sounds kind of familiar. Axis emulated. Axis controller. What kind of emulated action can you have? Or, yeah, what is this axis emulated able to represent? Can it represent a mouse button as well? That would be very interesting. See, now I'm really curious. Mouse wheel? Huh. Oh, this doesn't... Events.push, mouse wheel moved. Okay, wow. Fancy. I mean, not everyone has a mouse wheel, but... That's kind of interesting. Oh, and they even have dead zones, yeah. See... When you've, well, actually, I probably shouldn't say that. Forget where I was going. That train of thought, it's dead. It's gone. Does this do mice? I want to know if it does mice. It handles dead zones for, like, control sticks, so I would imagine it should also handle mouse, but... Oh, wait, button is down. mouse. Buttons that are down. Mouse position. Okay, that's interesting. Huh. See, the fact that there's two different ways of getting, like, mouse events is kind of confusing. Like, should I be using a system like this? Like the one in the Pong example for handling when I click on buttons? Or should I use the other one? Just the regular handle events thing. I mean, obviously that one's more suitable for doing state transitions, but I don't see why it couldn't be used for handling a mouse click. That handles a key being down. Oh, dude, what is this axis emulated thing? I need to know what that is. If I can find the definition for axis, that'd be super nice. Of course they're going to use star imports though, so I won't be able to find it that easily. Let's go look for axis. Well, this seems pretty... I mean, it's literally called axis. It seems pretty good. Button. Pair of digital inputs. W and S keyboard buttons are D-pad up and D-pad down controller buttons. What about mouse buttons, though? What kind of button is a super button? Alright, what kind of buttons are we talking about here? Aha! A mouse button is a button. So it could definitely include a mouse button. That is what that tells me. It could even be a mouse wheel. It's interesting. Alright, so I could use bindings. Or like a axis for this. Where if you click on the mouse button it would do a thing. Or if you hit enter it would do a thing as well, maybe. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'll also think about that. Oh, here's like a from mouse button. Yeah. How's this defined? Emulated, pause, and they use key. But it doesn't have to be a key, right? Like, emulated could take something else. Yeah, it could take mouse and mouse. If not pressed down, huh? Yeah, that could work. I feel like this isn't this isn't the right use case almost even though. I don't know. I just get this weird feeling like I should just put it in the state here instead of trying to use a system to handle the input. My reasoning for that is this doesn't emit events as far as I can tell. Or does it? Well, okay, hang on. I have to answer the question by going into the system for paddle. Okay, so it gets an input axis value. Yeah, so you can check if something is currently up or currently down on this frame. I guess if it is down, then it'll be a sum, and then you'll do whatever action until they let go, in which case it will be a none. I feel like this doesn't really handle like click events very well though, right? in particular. So my inclination is... Well, this would work well for like if you're if you want to have like hold left click to like shoot bullets and let go to stop shooting bullets kind of thing. That's the thing. That's the problem. I'm not really sure what I want to be doing with this right here. Because clicking on regular old buttons in the UI, taking in like mouse up events, is it's pretty easy from where I currently am in handle event, but it might be better served to put that logic in some other place. Like originally I had like a system down here, some other system that handled inputs that was separate from this entirely. So, but I needed to be able to transition states, so I had to move that logic in here and get the events here, which is fine for, you know, transitioning between states. But I think I have a feeling that these events are specifically only meant to be used for helping you do state transitions, and outside of that you probably shouldn't bother. You shouldn't do that. So if I want to have something that just reacts to a button being clicked, or like a generate seed button being clicked, it probably doesn't belong here. I mean, it could belong here, but maybe it isn't the best place to put it. Yeah, this is hard. It's a hard decision to make. Because like on the one hand, all I have to do if I'm handling the event here is just return a trans none, right? And then I can say, oh, don't transition to a new state. Just do a thing. Yeah. Oh, this is hard. This is really hard. I'm so torn right now between like just making a new system that handles clicks on the button in particular that I'm going to add, or if I should do it here instead. Like, what would a real game dev do in this situation? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what the answer is. Well, I think I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna think on this for a bit. I'm gonna stop things right here, and when I come back, hopefully I will know what direction I want to take things in. But yeah, I learned some new things today. I learned about the axes, and that's good.